Welcome back to In the House with Beth and Ryan. Today, we're going to take a look at 3 different topics. We're going to take a look at how the Guelph market performed this January 2023 compared to last year in 2022. Next, we're going to try to make some predictions for what Ryan and I think is going to happen in the coming spring market. And finally, we're going to discuss a hot topic, the student rental market.
That's right. And so the January sales numbers for Guelph are in. Volume seems to be way down. Average price seems to be way down. Dollar volume in sales are way down. But I think it needs to be taken with a bit of context. We're now at inventory levels that were consistent with 2021, 2020, 2019, and sales accordingly. And we did have 98 sales in January of this year versus 120 to 140 in the previous 5 years. So it is low for sure.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of consistent with a lot of different data points that we're looking at. The entire market experienced a bit of a blip or a spike over the last few years during the pandemic, and we seem to have returned to pre-pandemic levels, but possibly a little lower. And it's possible that part of what's creating that kind of dip is interest rates. People are holding onto their money a little more tightly and more reluctant to spend bigger dollars on a home.
So on that note, let's talk about February so far. So the February sales are at about 50 at the moment. And if you take a look at historical sales volume, so I have here 2022, 2021, all of those were over 200 houses sold in a month. But I don't think that that's something really to be alarmed about. I do think that with the interest rate announcement at the end of January, at a quarter point, that we're probably going to see a lack of interest rate hikes coming up in the future.
So it might be something to consider, for example, if you're a first-time home buyer and maybe you have feel a little bit less confident about mortgage rates in the future, it might be a good time to think about locking in at a fixed rate.
Yeah, you can get a great rate. We have some great mortgage brokers we can hook you up with. The last thing we wanted to talk about was the hot topic in Guelph right now. There was a picture that was circulating on social media. I don't know if you saw it, but it was a home that was for rent, and there was a lineup of students, about 25 deep. We have been dealing with a lot of parents who are in a situation where their student could be paying $1,000, $1,100, $1,200 a month rent. And the parents are saying, well, if they're going to pay that much, maybe buying a rental property that we can have our child live in with their friends, even though it may not cash flow and it may be negative $500 or $600 a month, it's still better than them paying $1,100 a month.
And parents have a peace of mind in knowing that their student has somewhere to live, because not only are rents really high, but there's also situations where people can't find a place to rent. If you have any questions about the Guelph real estate market, or if you want to talk any more about these topics, feel free to reach out to Ryan or I, and check out our website at bethandryan.ca.